All right, I just opened it for everyone to start hopping in.
Awesome. Thank you guys for joining early. We will get started in just a few minutes. Again, thank you all for joining. It is 1 o'clock Central. We will give it another minute or so. Just let some of the last minute attendees get signed on and online. But thank you for joining. We'll begin in just a minute. All right, I think we'll go ahead and get it kicked off today. And I want to thank everyone for joining today and welcome you to the Grandstream Exploring Convergence Solutions presentation. Thank you for attending. And despite your busy schedules, I think we're going to learn a lot today, so this time is valuable. The event, first of all, is being recorded, so we will have that available for you after the presentation. And I am your host, Daniel Narotsky. I'm the CTO of Teledynamics, and I'm joined today with David Richards of Grandstream. So the two of us will be presenting and answering some questions, and we've also have Abdel Jabbar and Chris Dow with Grandstream on today to help us answer any questions. But if David, if you switch to the next slide, we'll give a little bit of a brief introduction to Teledynamics. Teledynamics, for those that don't know, was founded in May of 1981, and we are a value-added B2B distributor of SIP and telecom products, selling only to authorized VARs and ITSPs. And in the following slides, you'll see how we deliver customized services like order processing, order fulfillment, superior customer service, and technical information like provisioning services. Next slide, please. Teledynamics offers a variety of ways to communicate your ordering process with us. You can use our self-serve web ordering and tracking portal. You can send us your orders via phone, fax, email. We also have FTP, EDI, and API integrations. The self-serve web portal is one of the best in the industry. I'm not just saying that because I work with Teledynamics. We've actually had a lot of awards and support for our web portal. So the self-serve web portal is best in the industry. Everything at your fingertips, allows you to request RMAs, view invoices, tracking, MAC addresses, along with the ability to create favorite items for frequently ordered items. We offer competitive pricing, net 30 terms, and give you the tools to quickly import MAC addresses with every order. Next slide. Teledynamics has been providing order fulfillment and blind drop shipping services for over 40 years. So take advantage of our large quantity of stock on over 8,000 products. We have same-day shipping until 5 o'clock Central and customizable shipping and packing labels. That allows you to have blind drop shipping. So you now have your orders delivered directly to your end customer without any pricing, without any mention of Teledynamics. All orders ship centrally from the United States out of Austin, Texas, and they ensure quick delivery with ground shipping rates. Next slide. Teledynamics delivers superior customer service and technical support. All your account aspects, from sales to tracking to RMA requests, are all handled by the same Teledynamics rep. You can request detailed literature, documentation, brochures, as well as customized applications built all around your needs. This includes our SIP endpoint provisioning as well. Next slide. So Monday through Friday, you can call in 7:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. and get some of these expedited provisioning services and interface requests put onto your account. And one of the things with placing orders with Teledynamics, we can facilitate the configuration and provisioning needs to provide a white glove service that allows you to ship phones and endpoints directly to your end users with the confidence that they're going to arrive ready for use. So that's a little bit about Teledynamics, the things that we offer as a wholesale distributor and partner with Grandstream. I would like to pass it over now to David Richards so he can give you a little bit more information on who Grandstream is, and we're going to discuss the future of networking. David?
All right, thank you, Daniel. Really appreciate that. And, you know, a special shout out to the entire Teledynamics team for helping put this webinar together. We're really excited to be here and to spread the news about some of our new products here. So again, you know, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dave Richards. I'm the head of sales for our networking products here in North America at Grandstream. I am joined with Chris Dow, who is our channel sales manager. And we do have Abdel Jabbar. He is one of our support engineers and will be monitoring the chat. So any questions you do have as we're going along, feel free just to pop them in the chat and he will get to them as quickly as possible. I'll pause a few times just to make sure that we're all caught up. But really, you know, today's webinar, it's really going to focus on Grandstream's newest line of products, and that's our Convergence products. And those are going to fall under the GCC series. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive in. I do want to give a quick background for those of you who are not familiar with Grandstream, just give you an overview of who we are. So we do consider ourselves a one-stop shop for all your networking, unified communications, and your facility management solutions. We were founded in 2002. We are a privately owned company that's headquartered in Boston, Massachusetts. And we do have a pretty vast portfolio. We have over 180 different products that are being deployed in over 150 different countries. And you know, as I've talked to people, I've come to know that most people know us for our UC solutions, which really that doesn't come as a surprise to me because we're the #2 global provider of IP desk phones, and we're the largest global provider of IP video phones, Wi-Fi IP phones, and ATAs. But over the last 5 to 6 years, our fastest growing product line has been our networking solutions. So as I mentioned, you know, we are a one-stop shop for communication solutions. And like I mentioned, you know, most people know us for our unified communications products, and that's really been our bread and butter over the last 20 years. And you can see on the left side of the screen here, you know, our full portfolio of products that we offer within UC. But with our networking portfolio becoming the fastest growing product line, it's really starting to become a staple for many customers. And you can see on the right side, you know, a list of the products that we have on the networking side. But really, you know, the next step in Grandstream's evolution is the introduction of our new exciting product category, which is our convergence products. So today's, you know, the focal point of today's webinar is going to be that convergence category. And we're going to talk about, you know, why we merged our UC and networking products together into one product. We'll go through some of the different products, and towards the end, we will give some deployment scenarios and, you know, some ideal target customers for these products. All right, so with the convergence products, like I mentioned, they do fall under the GCC series. So I think the best place to start here is, what is the GCC series? So the GCC series is really an all-in-one platform that's going to combine all of your business data, your security, your communication, and your collaboration needs into one device. And to simplify that, what it does is it combines the functionality of a VPN router, a next generation firewall, an IPPBX, a network switch, and then depending on which model you get, one of them does come with a Wi-Fi access point. And this is all within one product. So we currently have 3 GCC models available, which we are going to cover here in just a second. So before we get into the product, I really want to talk about what it was that made us want to come out with an all-in-one solution. And really, you know, if you look at today's market, customers are traditionally purchasing 4 to 5 separate products to cover their business data, their security, their communication, and all of their collaboration needs. And this is really leading to a high CapEx. You've got recurring fees, you have to deal with multiple vendors, complex installations, and you have to deal with multiple management platforms. So when we looked at the SMB market, we knew small businesses really needed a platform that can provide all of their essentials needed to do business. You know, anywhere from your business communications, your wired and wireless networks, and your network security. And due to a lack of resources, they really need the entire platform to be easy to install, easy to manage from one centralized location. And it's something that would need to require minimal hardware. And especially in today's environment, it really needed to be affordable. So what we did is Grandstream's solution to this is the GCC series. And this is going to combine all of the essentials needed to do business into one device. And it's going to allow you to create and manage wired and wireless and VPN networks. It's going to provide enterprise-grade network security, and it's going to utilize a market-leading communication platform. So the GCC series, it can be configured quickly and managed with the cloud using GDMS, which is Grandstream's device management system. So those of you who know Grandstream and use this today, this is being used already with our UC and our networking products. This can be used to manage the GCC products as well. And for those of you who don't want to use a cloud-based management platform, we also have a mobile app. You've got the local web user interface and GWN Manager, which is essentially just a software version of GDMS. So at our core, Grandstream has really always set out to make traditionally high-end, complicated, and expensive technology that's going to be available to everyone. And this is really why we set out to address the gap in the marketplace. And we developed a solution to provide, the SMB market one device to address all of their communication needs. And in turn, this has really allowed us to provide our partners with a product that could expand their business and allow them to provide additional services for their customers. And what I mean by that is that our partners who are traditionally deploying UC services now have the ability to add networking and security to their portfolio. And our partners who are, deploying networking products, they can now easily add UC services to their portfolio while utilizing the same device. All right, so we're going to take a look at the products here. Currently under the GCC series, we have launched 3 products, and those consist of the GCC 6010, the GCC 6010W, and the GCC 6011. And currently the GCC 6010 is out and available now for purchase. The 6010W and the 6011 are targeted to launch in early September. So I'm not going to go through all the specs here, but I will give just a couple of highlights to, kind of show the differences between the 3 models. So with the GCC 6010, you're going to get 2.5 gigabit SFP ports, 5 gigabit Ethernet ports. 4 of those are PoE output ports. And all of the ports on this model are WAN and LAN configurable with a maximum of 3 WAN ports. This model also includes the VPN router, the next generation firewall, and an IP-PBX. And we will talk more about this in another slide, but the IP-PBX comes default with 12 users and 4 concurrent calls. There are upgrade options available, and there's a link at the bottom of the screen. I'll have this link posted on a few slides today, but we'll be on this slide here for a minute. So if you want to see what those upgrades are, you can take a look at that link, and we have multiple options for you. So the next model in the middle is the GCC 6010W, and that's going to provide 5 gigabit Ethernet ports. It has a dual band Wi-Fi 6 access point, a VPN router, the next gen firewall, and again, the IP-PBX with 12 users and 4 concurrent calls by default. And the last model is the GCC 6011. This one's going to have 2.5 gigabit SFP ports, but it's going to have 10 gigabit Ethernet ports. And one of the big differences here between the 6011 and the 6010 that I want to point out is that the WAN ports on the 6011 are fixed. So you will have 3 fixed WAN ports. Other than that, it does include the VPN router, the next gen firewall, and again, the IP-PBX with 12 users and 4 concurrent calls by default. One other thing to point out here is the GCC 6010 and the GCC 6011 have a max PoE output of 36 watts. So what we're going to do next, as you can see, there are 5 different components to all of these products. I'm going to take each of those and we're going to do a deeper dive into what each of those models are capable of. So we're going to start with the VPN router, and all 3 models in the GCC series do come with the VPN router. And this is going to allow for easy access, easy and secure remote access, as well as establishing your secure site-to-site connections. So with the GCC 6010 and the GCC 6011, they have 2.5 gigabits per second routing capacity and 1 gig IPsec VPN throughput, while the GCC 6010W has 3 gigs of routing capacity and 1 gig IPsec VPN throughput. Like I mentioned, they do all have multiple WAN ports, and with multiple WAN ports, this is going to allow you to configure your load balancing and your failover, and all of this is easily configured through the GDMS portal, which we'll talk more about GDMS here in a few minutes if you're not familiar with it. The VPN router also provides support for your DHCP server, your DNS server, your IGMP proxy, turn server, and your IPv4 and IPv6. So the GCC series, they can be connected to a remote VPN using multiple different protocols. These include your WireGuard for site-to-site, OpenVPN for clients and servers, your point-to-point protocol or PPTP for your clients and servers, your layer 2 tunneling protocol or L2TP for your client to site, your IPsec for site to site and client to site. And then it also allows for remote user management, and this can be configured with PPTP, IPsec, and OpenVPN. All right, next we'll take a look at the next-gen firewall. So the firewall module, as I mentioned, it is a next-generation firewall, and it does have the VB100 Grade A anti-malware certification. And I'm going to focus on a few key highlights, and we'll start with the firewall policy. So the next-gen firewall does have really in-depth policy options that are going to allow you to define how the GCC devices handle your inbound traffic, and that's going to ensure that network operations remain uncompromised. And some of these include your rules policies, your inbound rules, your forward rules, your advanced NAT rules, and your global configuration. It also has features, advanced threat protection features. And really with this, it's going to allow you to instantly identify and immediately respond to sophisticated attacks. It's also going to support application and protocol monitoring as well as traffic statistics with an AI-based deep packet inspection or DPI. It has very in-depth content filtering and control. So with these features, it's going to allow you to identify and control traffic based on DNS, URL, URL category, keywords, and an overall application. So the web filtering features can be deeply defined to ensure that your users aren't accessing malicious websites. And then as well, the application filtering features are going to prevent designated application categories from being used. And it does have an optional AI recognition that's going to help the GCC device more accurately classify your applications. So another feature to look at here is going to be the adaptive intrusion detection and prevention. And with this, it includes features like your signature-based scanning, your auto rules update, your real-time SSL deep inspection, your SSL blacklist and whitelist, GeoIP enforcement. And the last feature that I do want to cover on the next-gen firewall is going to be the comprehensive attack defense. So really, this is going to help prevent DOS attacks or denial of service attacks. It's going to provide enhanced spoofing defense, and it's going to protect against attacks on ARP vulnerabilities. All right, so we'll move on to the IPPBX module here. And with this module, anyone who is familiar with Grandstreams UCMs or on-prem IP PBXs, this is going to contain the same feature sets that would be provided with our other PBX solutions. And I know I've mentioned this before, but each model does support 12 users and 4 concurrent calls by default. It does have the upgrades available, and that can go all the way up to 200 users and 24 concurrent calls. And again, I do have the link here posted where you can find the different upgrade options that are available. And within that link, it does have a complete list of features that are included with the IPPBX. So you are welcome to check that out if you would like. But the IPPBX provides, full voice and video communication and collaboration platform, which is going to be compatible with our SIP endpoints and the Wave application for both desktop, web, and mobile. So I know I mentioned all of the features on our PBX solutions are included, but some of those that are included here in the GCC series worth noting are going to be your call forwarding, your transfer, your call parking, voicemail, instant messaging, got intercom and paging, IVR, emergency calls, and a lot more. In addition to those features, we do have a wide set of CRM, PMS, and other integrations that are available with API capabilities as well. And the network switch part, this one's going to be a little more straightforward, so I won't spend too much time here. But with the GCC 6010 model, like I mentioned, you get 5 gigabit Ethernet ports, you get 2.5 gig SFP ports. Again, all of the ports on the 6010 are WAN LAN configurable. There is a maximum of 3 WAN ports on this model. And the GCC 6010 is only going to be desktop and wall mountable. With the GCC 6011, you're going to get 10 gigabit Ethernet ports, 2.5 gigabit SFP ports. It will have 3 fixed WAN ports, and this one is both rack and desktop mountable. All right, the access point module, and this is only available on the GCC 6010W right now. And this is going to feature that dual band Wi-Fi 6 access point. It's going to have the 2x2 multi-user MIMO technology, and it will support up to 500 concurrent clients. It's also going to include comprehensive Wi-Fi security protection with intrusion prevention, anti-hacking measures, your secure boot, your critical data and control lockdown, that's via digital signatures, and your unique security certificates. Some of the additional features that I think are worth noting here is the captive portals, which can be configured through GDMS, and virtual access points. And if you're familiar with our current access points or our networking products, the GCC 6010W can be set up as a master so that you can create a mesh Wi-Fi network with additional Grandstream access points. As I mentioned before, this one also can support up to 150 additional GWN access points. So I want to talk about one of the really big features here, what I think is one of the biggest competitive advantages of the GCC series, and that's the built-in QoS. So Grandstream's been working on QoS for almost 25 years now, and we've really wanted to carry this into the GCC series to include what we're calling a built-in smart QoS. And I really believe this is one of the major differentiators of the GCC series. So By integrating your networking and your IP-PBX functionality, the GCC series significantly reduces latency and provides a smart QoS engine. And that's really going to ensure a smooth experience regardless of network traffic. And this is going to offer you more control over the usage of bandwidth, and it's going to ensure that all application services aren't being affected by the amount of traffic being exchanged. So some of the more advanced features are going to allow you to prioritize your traffic of applications by category or individually. The priority levels that you can set, there's going to be 4 classes of priority levels. And you can configure the QoS class rules, which are going to be rules that set the QoS based on either source or destination IP address or source or destination ports. You also have VoIP prioritization, and this is going to allow the user to identify and prioritize the VoIP traffic that's being forwarded to the GCC device. In addition to these features, it does provide traffic statistics, and it does have AI recognition, which is going to allow for bandwidth limits to be set by IP address and MAC address. All right, I've mentioned GDMS multiple times today, and I know if you've used Grandstream in the past, you are probably very familiar with GDMS, but for those of you who aren't, I do want to touch on this a little bit because this is really how you're going to deploy, configure, and manage the GCC series. So we really created this to be a centralized administrative interface that's going to allow you to control not only just the GCC series, but also the rest of your Grandstream endpoints. So this is going to include everything from your high-level overview of the network all the way down to a granular level to see exactly what's happening with every endpoint or even client. And for deployments for GCC, we've included a one-click fast provisioning process, which is going to allow you to provision up to 1,000 IP endpoints. And it's really going to cut down on the time and the cost of that deployment. A few other features that I think are worth noting about GDMS when it comes to deploying and managing GCC devices include your dynamic real-time reporting, your monitoring, your remote management, built-in diagnostic tools. And again, for anyone who doesn't want to, or for some reasons, I know some people can't manage their network in the cloud, you also have a few other options here. So you can manage GCC series with the local web UI or GWN manager. And like I mentioned, that's a software-based version of GDMS that you can download on a local server. All right, so let's look at some target markets. Really, you know, if you consider the number of ports on the switch, the number of users and call paths that are supported by the IP-PBX, and the network speeds that are supported, the GCC series is really designed for the SMB marketplace. And that's going to be, you know, your retail, your single stores and chains, your small to medium-sized offices, and even our service providers as well. So by giving the SMB space a solution to address all network security and communication needs under one product and management portal, this is really going to significantly lower the cost of ownership when you compare it to purchasing all of the devices separately. This also creates a solution that is significantly easier to deploy and manage, which is really ideal for SMB and retail space. And regarding our service providers, I know many of the service providers are already providing all of the services that the GCC series does provide. But now with the GCC series, they can offer all of these services from one device and easily deploy it into a residence or into a small business setting, which is really going to allow the service providers to manage all of a customer's services from one platform. So all of these products we've talked about, like I mentioned, they're targeted towards SMB, but we are going to come out with future models. Hopefully they'll be on the roadmap for next year, but they're going to be targeted towards our larger enterprise businesses. So be on the lookout for those as well. And I do want to look at, one example here of how you can deploy the GCC. And I do want to use a small to medium size office as the example. So there's a lot of advantages that an office can leverage by using a GCC device. And some of those are going to be the affordability, the simplified hardware infrastructure, your streamlined configuration, and your ongoing centralized management. So in the example we're using for the small office, the GCC device would be deployed in the core layer of an office's network, and it's really going to serve as the backbone for all of the UC, security, network node optimization, and routing for that office. So in regards to the networking capabilities, you can use the 2.5 gig SFP port to connect a distribution or access layer switch that's going to support bandwidth nodes of devices like your clusters of workstations. And you can use the gigabit ports and you would organize those in a lag configuration to support additional distribution and access switches that connect devices such as your Wi-Fi access points. They could also be used to connect lower bandwidth devices such as clusters of IP phones in the office. And then within the office deployment, the IP-PBX functions can be leveraged to provide a suite of powerful communication features like your audio video meetings, your calls, conference, chats, and much more. They're also going to have the ability to customize their inbound, outbound call routing and can take advantage of a highly configurable IVR with up to 5 layers. So utilizing GDMS, this is going to allow them to manage their entire network in real time, while also having the flexibility of both local and remote management options. They'll also be able to configure features like VPNs, VLANs, policy-based routing, and QoS directly through the GDMS portal. And the last piece here to touch on with this deployment would be that the GCC's firewall capabilities really can elevate the office's IT infrastructure with the latest in network security. And some of these are going to include, which we touched on, the advanced attack defense, the adaptive intrusion detection and prevention, the AI-based DPI, the sophisticated content filtering, and the application control. So really with this suite of capabilities, it's going to provide the organization with a comprehensive end-to-end security protection against all cyber threats. And to really round this out, I do have a diagram here, just kind of high-level overview of what that would look like. And you can see you've got the GCC device serving as the core connected to the internet and the GDMS portal. And then with the GCC device, it's connected to a layer 2+ switch, which is then connected to the Wi-Fi access points. And those are providing the Wi-Fi to all of your Wi-Fi endpoints. And then again, on the right here, the GCC device is also connected to an on-managed switch that is connecting to all your IP endpoints, like your IP phones and your workstations. So this is really a high-level overview of how the GCC device can be deployed in an office setting and really how GDMS can be used to configure all of the advanced features that come with the GCC series. So that's everything I have today. I'm going to pause just to make sure. I can't really see the chat, but I want to make sure that Abdel was able to get to anyone's questions and take a moment here to see if there's any we need to take online.
Yeah, so I had a couple of questions regarding remote.